Hey, Champion Nation. My name is Kashaun Cooper, and I am the host of the Champion Nation podcast. Before we jump into today's episode, can you please do me a favor? It would mean so much to me if you can scroll down and subscribe so you don't miss any of our episodes. Also, if you can hit that little like button, comment below. Your comments mean so much to me and our other viewers and listeners. Now let's jump into today's episode.
Because everything that I have learned, everything that has made me the man that I am today is because I've acquired that knowledge from someone else, somewhere else. Therefore, I have to give it back. It is my duty to give back that knowledge and everything else that I've learned or I've created back to humanity before my time is up. Or when I die, everything dies with me. And that is a selfish way of living.
Hey, Champion Nation. How you doing? What's going on? My name is K. Cooper, and I am the host of the Champion Nation podcast. I am uber excited, super excited to talk to my good friend, Gabriel. Gabriel is not just no ordinary person, right? I mean, yeah, he's ordinary, but extraordinary with some other talents and gifts that he's been given by God. But Gabriel, he is a teacher. He is a coach. He's an author. He's a husband. But in the midst of all of that, Gabriel, he is also a father. And basically that is going to be the gist of our conversation today, because I'm a father. And I believe that not one of us know all the answers. We can learn from anyone. So I was super excited to see that Gabriel was going to join us on the Champion Nation. Gabriel, welcome to the Champion Nation family. How you doing, sir?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for inviting me, for accepting my invitation. The moment I saw Champion Nation podcast, I said, I have to be on it. So then I read, and then I'm more just interested and even more excited. So I sent you a message right away. You replied and I said, yes, dreams do come true.
They do come true. They do. Beautiful,
you gotta
beautiful.
Believe,
thank you,
man. And that's what I did. And here we are.
Absolutely. I believe it was Walt Disney that said, hey, dreams come true if you have the courage to pursue them. So good job for having the courage to pursue in that dream.
Well, thank you. I just wanted to contribute to your podcast based on how wonderfully written it was when I read about it, and the fact that you and I went back and forth with the emails. Your questions, some of them made me very emotional because they were very personal. It made me reflect from where I was at that moment when I was reading those questions to all the way back to age 4 when I dreamt about becoming a teacher. And I never let it go for 19 years until I got it. Until I stood in front of my high school students, teaching them creative writing at Bonanza High School. So,
oh man, I can't wait to hear more about your journey. But on that note, Gabriel, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do.
Well, thank you very much again for inviting me. My name is Gabriel Thomas Spartan. I am so many things, but I have to thank God for the man that I am today. I have to thank my father for the man that I am today, because he set the standard so high for me that I'm still trying to reach that standard. I was 4 years old when I dreamt about becoming a teacher, and my grandmother was the reason why I became a teacher, and it took me 19 years to get to that level because she was respected. She was respected by family, by friends, family friends. She was a respected member of the society. She was given gifts. People would come to say hello, and they would drop off meals. And she was a loving human being who saw everybody as her own children. And wow. It wasn't that I wanted to be a teacher. Now that I think about it, it was that I wanted that respect and love and admiration. And so through all these years, as I was growing up, I learned so much more by just being with her, studying with her and learning. And so here we are today. That journey took 19 years, and then for 20 years, I was a teacher. This is my 21st year going into teaching, but
congratulations.
Thank you very much. I taught in Las
You're welcome.
Vegas. I've taught multiple
Mm.
subjects in Las Vegas and Texas Tech University. I've taught in China for 11 years. I purchased a one-way ticket in 2008, and I said, I will come back when I'm ready. I wanted to test myself, but more importantly, I wanted to learn, I wanted to grow and expand my horizons as a teacher, because neither Las Vegas nor Texas was big enough for me. I needed to test myself. And once I went there and became a part of that culture, the first thing that I did was I rode my bicycle from Beijing all the way to Tibet. That's 2,000 miles and 43 days with a calf injury that I sustained in Sichuan province because I was riding 12 to 14 hours a day on a bicycle. So if you can imagine doing that in the heat of summer from July to August. Yeah, so 37 days of riding, 5 days off, and with an injury. So instead of taking pills and such, I said, even Lamborghinis can blow gaskets, so let's keep going. With
Let's
an
go.
injury, and I just kept going. So
I
it's just,
love it.
thank you. That's what expanded my horizons was I left home. I went to a very strange country with billions of people, and I had to find my way, and I did.
And you did. You know what, Gabriel? Just in the last 5 minutes that we have been chatting, I have learned so much about you. Wow. You are definitely a man with a vision, but a man that won't let up until that vision is manifested. And I appreciate that. So I'm sure I'm not the only one that would appreciate. Our viewers and listeners would appreciate that. But you transition from a seasoned educator to a father, and now the founder of a wonderful organization called First Time Parent. I'm eager to hear about what inspired you to take that leap, because I know some teachers, and I don't know if some teachers will start a nonprofit for children. If anything, they want to get away from the children. But what happened to you, and how your daughter Charlotte, how she played a massive role in this transformation?
Oh my goodness, you are tugging at my heartstrings right now. Thank you so much for your kind words. I know that I just started speaking really fast. It's because I'm just so energetic about what I do. The moment I open my eyes, I say my affirmations in the morning. It's go time, man. I
Yes,
sleep when I'm finished. Usually it's 3 to 4 hours a night.
I
But
love
let's
it.
get to the meat and potatoes of everything. A lot of
Okay.
people ask me, how did you transition from being a teacher to an entrepreneur or to a businessman? I don't see it as a transition where one thing stopped, the other one started.
Mm,
First time parent, that is the company that I've built. It wouldn't exist today if I wasn't a 20-year veteran teacher of multiple subjects, having taught in multiple countries. It wouldn't come to fruition if my daughter Charlotte wasn't with me. It wouldn't be what it is today if I didn't care about society
mm.
and I cared about my own pockets. I want to contribute to society on such a level that 1,000 years after I'm gone, I want my teachings to continue. Because everything that I have learned, everything that has made me the man that I am today, is because I've acquired that knowledge from someone else, somewhere else. Therefore, I have to give it back. It is my duty to give back that knowledge and everything else that I've learned or I've created back to humanity before my time is up. Or when I die, everything dies with me. And that is a selfish way of living.
Yes.
Now, how did I transition? Now, I told you I didn't really go from one to another because I'm still a full-time teacher. I'm
Okay.
still a full-time husband, a full-time father, a full-time writer. In the past 20 months, I've written 10 books in 3 different categories. Thank you very
Congratulations, my
much.
man.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. Because I wanted to build my daughter's first digital library with my own two hands. And that is exactly what I did. Again, you have to persevere through a lot to get to that level. Now, how did I transition? All I did was I expanded my horizons as soon as I thought about, having a daughter. And then my wife and I spoke about expanding our family. And then I told her I want to name her Charlotte. She will be born before summer. She will be healthy. And we accomplished all those things. Granted, she was born 6 weeks early. My wife had a C-section emergency. My little daughter was 3.5 pounds. But the power that this little person possesses to make a grown man at the age of 41 tremble and say, I want to contribute to society because I'm thinking of having a daughter. Will she respect me, and how will I be respected by her? Not only because I'm her father, but what else can I do to be respected by her where I don't demand it? So this is what I thought about. I know so much about parenting, and I was reading parenting books for a long time before we even thought about becoming parents. That led me towards becoming a parent. That led me towards opening a door for people that don't have the ways and means necessary to learn how to become parents for the first time. Because of that, another branch of my company focuses on co-parenting. Not just
I really want to talk about that. I really want. Keep going, but I really want to talk about that
one.
one.
It was the very thought that led me to becoming a parent that led me to opening this company eventually. But for and you have to think about it this way, it took me over 3 years to build my company from the ground up. Everything that I've written, my YouTube channel, which started everything, it's called Finally, I'm a Dad. I wanted to make 50 videos of the most high quality and educational videos for my daughter to learn. And if something ever happened to me, then she will have a roadmap for the rest of her life to follow and pursue her dreams.
A digital blueprint. I love it.
Then it turned into 190 of the highest quality and the most educational videos. 190. It's a chronicle of my daughter going from thought to being 21 months old just a few days ago. And then because of that, I made another YouTube channel called Life is Hard for Parents. And I talk about special topics that parents go through and how to avoid those pitfalls like I did. And so that's another thing that's free. I've written 10 books where the first 4 books, I broke down my daughter's first 12 months into 4 3-month books. Her entire year as an infant is covered in 4 books where she's telling her story as if that little infant was a 5-year-old with the intelligence of an 8-year-old child. And she is given credit as the author. I know that kind of makes you think a little bit, but once you go on my website, you'll see it. The other thing is the other 4 books that focuses on her as a toddler. Every 3 months as a toddler, how she grows up, she's telling her story. The one other book I have, which I illustrated, and you have to think of it this way, I was holding her in my arms, tiny little baby, feeding her while I'm writing and building my company, working on it, making improvements, adjustments, writing and illustrating this book at the same time. Okay, because I wrote down my goals. And so I had to stay true to them. So I illustrated this book where she lands on Proxima Centauri b, another planet that's 7 times the size of Earth. It's real.
Okay.
But she's found a way to land her starship Hope on the surface of Proxima Centauri b, just to find a way for humanity to continue living.
Wow.
So, and then another one where it's her first vacation ever. So we did that one as well. On top of that, building a website, talking to a lawyer, a family lawyer, to build my co-parenting side of the business, which took me 71 lawyers to finally find the one.
I bet. I bet co-parenting
because
is not
there
easy,
were
man.
70 of them who didn't want to take me on. And then I found
Wow.
one that I call my sister. And
Wow.
we went through our website with a fine-toothed comb to make sure that the co-parenting part of it is complete. I'm working with the court system. I'm working with people who are co-parenting, with a lawyer. So my 24 hours is extremely busy, but I still have time for
It
everyone.
sounds like every moment is accounted for.
Yes, every day, every day.
Let's backstep a few sentences, Gabriel. You
Mhm.
said something about thought to 22 months. You were talking about Charlotte.
Yes.
Right? You seem like a man that once you conceive something, you have no other choice but to make it happen. Can you? And I know you used the example of Charlotte on how you went from thought to manifestation, but is that a practice that you use all the time when you're looking to create or manifest in your life?
Thank you for this question. No one's ever asked me this question, by the way. And to your viewers and those who are listening to you, um, this man is incredible. Thank you for this
I
amazing
appreciate.
question. This is what I've done since I was a kid. I always loved writing,
Okay.
and I would always write down what I wanted, and then I would see it because it would come
Mm.
true. As I grew up, as I read about manifestation, just through text and being in the library, I realized that what I did as just as a kid was something that people, those who really want something, that's what they do. The only way to get something is to write it down, stare a hole through it, and make
Mm.
it come true. Give thanks before you have it. So when you have it, you are grateful. And
Gabriel,
so
we can.
as I grew up, and that's what I did. I started reading. I started manifesting as I wrote things down.
Gabriel, we could stop the podcast right here. We could stop the show right here, man. You said enough in 16 and a half minutes that will revolutionize someone's life if they took a hold of it. It could flip their life upside down. Has there been a situation in your life, Gabriel, where you wrote down something, you saw it, but you didn't actually see it? It never manifested itself in reality in the time frame that you wanted. How did you adjust and adapt to that?
I have such belief in what I write down that as soon as it's written, it's never forgotten until it's in the palm of my hands.
Mm.
I never let go of something because the moment you let go of the thing that you want, you have to start all over again because you stop believing. And therefore, the universe was working its way to you to give you that which you wanted. And then you said, I'll do it tomorrow.
Mm.
It was
Mm.
right
Wow.
there. All you have to do is reach out and grab it. Okay, a little bit of patience, a little bit of belief in what you want manifested, and it will be yours. And you will see in the Finally I'm a Dad YouTube channel that Charlotte was no mistake. She was no accident. I prepared my wife, listen to this, 2 years before Charlotte was born for Charlotte.
24 months. 24 months, everyone. 24 months.
Yeah. 2 years before she was born, we wrote the first 7-year plan for my daughter because the first 7 years of a child's life is the blueprint for the rest of his or her life. But for her life to begin and continue and flourish, I had to make sure to take care of my wife physically, mentally, and spiritually. On my Facebook, the very first newsletter called Power Parenting Newsletter that you see is the one where I talk about manifestation. I talk about how I built my wife up to that level where all she saw was that goal of getting pregnant, having an amazing pregnancy, giving birth to Charlotte, and recovering.
Mm.
Did it
Wow.
happen? It happened exactly as we planned it. It's exactly what I believed that would happen. It happened. When it happened, I had already gone through it. All these
Wow.
things that are happening right now, that has happened for the past 22 months, none of it, not even a single thing that Charlotte does is an accident. Nothing. It is all a part of the process. And at 18 months, when we took her for her checkup, the doctor said, well, she has our YouTube channel. She said at 18 months, she's operating at the level of a 2.5-year-old.
Wow.
Because when my wife was pregnant, I would put my hand on her belly and talk to my daughter. My wife was learning Spanish. She's Chinese. So
Okay.
she would speak Chinese to my daughter. She would learn Spanish through audio and such and repetition. And then I would speak in English. And now she's learning another language, sign language. And she's not even 2 years old yet. But she's communicating. She's understanding.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Gosh, you know we only have a set time for this show, but doggone it, we can talk for hours on this one.
I
We're
could come
definitely
back.
going to have to get you to come back. Oh,
I will.
absolutely. Challenges. Many of us, even myself, all of us, we face challenges as parents. That's just something that happens. But let me ask you a question, Gabriel. Given your extensive experience, what do you see? What do you see as some of the biggest challenges facing first-time parents today? And specifically, how does your program address those challenges?
I appreciate this question. I'll answer it this way. The way I built my company was the man and the woman. Let's be a bit more traditional. The man and the woman would contribute to the expansion of that family. Okay. However, the family is the two of you and your significant other, let's say. Okay. I wanted to raise my family. I wanted to hold that umbrella under which my wife would be and my daughter. I wanted to be not just a guy, not just a father, not just a husband, but the ever-present father, not the helicopter father, but the ever-present, where I wouldn't miss one single milestone. And you know what? To date, I haven't missed a single milestone of my daughter. Her first jump, her first walk, her first anything. I was always there for her. Now, this is what's happening with society, and it has happened for a long time. The male ego is what drives us away from our kids. And I'll say it to you this way, and I apologize if anyone is offended, but I have to be transparent with you. Okay?
Let's do it.
So the male contributes towards making that baby. Okay? I'll be a little more respectful. So now, the woman gets pregnant. The woman has to go through 9 months. If scientifically you go through that whole 9 months. With my wife, we had to cut it short, 6 weeks early. So the woman gets pregnant, goes through 9 months of pregnancy, and then nowadays you have the gender reveal. And then you wait for the gender reveal, and then the man is disappointed because he can't have the son he wanted to lift weights with because now he's having a daughter. Well, did you write it down? Is that what you wanted? Did you focus on that? What is your 7-year plan? Was it just to get to the gender reveal and then be disappointed at your wife? You also contributed to the person that is being born. That misconception that we have as males to just make the baby and make your wife or the female to make the son that you always wanted. Get rid of that ego, because you are lucky to be able to have a child.
Absolutely.
Boy or girl, does it matter so long as that kid is happy? But on the way, look at the things that are happening, and this is what I'm teaching people. Is first of all, let down your ego. Second of all, your wife, let's say wife, okay? Your wife may not make it to 9 months. What if that baby's life is cut short? What if there's a
Mm.
miscarriage? Okay, what if that child is born deformed? What if that child has cognitive disabilities? Focus on the health of the child versus being childish enough to think about, I'm going to make a baby. Okay, the wife is going to carry the kid for 9 months, and then I'll give it to my mother to raise the kid because I don't have time. And then you are disappointed at the way your child turned out because you had nothing to do with it.
Wow.
But what
Wow.
I'm trying to teach you is there will be expenses. There will be a price to pay. There's a difference. If you don't know the difference, I'll say it again. There are expenses you have to pay for, and there's a
Uh-huh.
price you pay as a man. You
Mm.
must. Before you get something, you have to pay the price.
Yes. Yes.
And if you don't know
Absolutely.
that, then come and talk to me and I'll tell you. I'll paint a picture for you. Very much so. Now, if we can let down our ego and if we can formulate a plan of what is expected in the 9 months, what happens if the lady needs a C-section right away, what
Uh-huh.
it's going to cost you if she makes it out, if she doesn't, if the baby makes it out, if not, what price will you pay? Not just the expenses. Okay, for example, my daughter cost me $20,000 with the insurance that we had.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I saved up for that, and you know what? I paid every single penny of it. I didn't keep a dime of that. And I paid for the formula during the formula shortage and everything. But I paint a picture for you about the reality of what it's like to not just make a baby, but to actually have that child and what happens afterwards.
Okay.
There you go.
I love it. I love it. There are expenses, and then there
It's a price
is a price to pay, and the two are different.
complete.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes. One comes out of your paycheck. The other one comes out of your soul. It comes out of your physical ability or lack thereof if you're not prepared. And it breaks you mentally because that baby and your wife will need constant attention for at least a year and a half to come. If you're man enough to raise your own family and not give your child to your mother to raise for you.
This is you are being extremely blunt. And I'm happy. I mean, this is the champion nation. In order to become champions, in order to live as a champion, to be a champion, there are some difficult conversations that we must have. And every show is not going to be raindrops and sunshine. It just isn't. This is definitely, you are getting in the face of our fathers, of our men. So let me ask you this question, Gabriel. You talked about, preparing your wife 18 months leading to this. But what about yourself? Like, what did you do for yourself? How did you get yourself prepared to be able to prepare your wife?
Thank you. Had I not been a teacher of 18 years at that point, I would have never been able to prepare my wife for this incredible journey that we had. So listen, I have an Associate of Arts, Associate of Fine Arts, Bachelor's of Arts, and 2 years in Masters of Fine Arts program, 20 years of teaching, reading, writing, creative writing, bodybuilding, weightlifting, science of physical education. I know a lot about all of the things that my wife would need to be prepared. At the same time, I've practiced yoga since 2003. I know all about breathing. And again, it goes to manifestation, it goes to relaxing the mind. But once you read the very first Power Parenting newsletter that I have, what you will see is that I prepared my wife's mind before I prepared her for anything else physically.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
the spirit of our daughter was already in our minds and in our hearts because we kept speaking about her as if she was here with us in this very room from which I'm speaking with you.
Wow.
Like, for example, we would do puzzles. You're building your family, you're building the little blocks that connect to one another, and you're talking about family. You see, how everything goes parallel, or we would go axe throwing. I know some people thought it was funny and whatever, but we're looking at the target. We were doing darts. We're looking at the target. We're going go-karting. The target is the finish line, right? And then I would take her to comedy clubs to raise her spirit and to laugh and to let comedians make fun of me and then laugh at myself because they were just extremely funny. And my wife would laugh. And it was all fun and games. If it was work, if it was tedious, if I let someone else into our lives that had nothing to do with our family, that little dynamic that I was trying to build would be lost today. And I told everyone, and this is what I also did, to build my wife up, I had to remove a lot of people and push them away. And I told them, I need to raise my family because I will be responsible for my daughter and for my wife. If something, God forbid, something happens, and I anticipated some of the things that might happen on the way from the first day we learn about our daughter until she is born. Because I'm telling you, when she was born, she was in NICU for 11 days and nights, and the nurse said, you don't have your daughter until you have your daughter.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Okay, she made it abundantly clear. So for me to build my wife's mind to that level, to handle pain, I did such a good job with her nutrition that she didn't have one single morning sickness day, nutrition-wise. Her nutrition was spot on.
Let me say something. I love what you're doing. I love what you're saying, and you saying I did such a great job. I did this. And to some people are going to get turned off to what you're saying. Like, oh wow, this guy is arrogant. This guy is pompous. This guy is conceited. This guy is cocky. Let me say something. Okay. Let me say something about that. I am happy that you are saying I. You know why? Mm-hmm. Because we live in a society where we celebrate people that make excuses. And what I mean by that is, if someone comes in late, they say, oh, don't worry, that's Brad. That's what he does. Brad is late every Monday. Or, if someone is having a bad Monday, they say, oh, Susie, she has bad Mondays. She hasn't had her coffee. We make excuses for them. But when someone like yourself say, I did this, I followed this, I did that, as society, we say, whoa, slow down, you're being arrogant. But what I want to do right now, I want to celebrate you and say, thank you for owning it. Thank you for owning your strengths, owning responsibility, because I guarantee you one thing, if Charlotte would have turned out another way and your wife would have turned out another way, we all be pointing the finger at you and saying, why didn't you do such and such and such? So I just wanted to pause right here and say, thank you for owning your strengths and thank you for taking responsibility and saying I, because guess what? You did it. I didn't do it. Whoever listening, they didn't do it either. You did it. So thank you. Sorry, I just went off on a tangent.
First of all, I am so humbled by what you said. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not about ego. You have to understand, because Siren is my wife. Therefore, I am her husband. I have to do those things for my wife. Do you understand that? This isn't ego. Who else is going to do anything for my wife? That would be ridiculous.
Right.
To allow anyone else to do anything for my wife, for my daughter. Let's go from I to my, or our. As not just the male, there's a difference between male and man. As a man, you have to take responsibility for your own actions, for your own words, and everything that comes back to you because you didn't do your homework. I didn't procrastinate, you see. Never once did I tell my wife, I'll do it later, I'll do it tomorrow, I'm watching the game. And let me tell you right now, after my daughter wakes up, I just put her to bed so we could talk, and it was her time anyway. I'm not watching the Super Bowl today. I'm spending my time with Charlotte because my time with her is more precious than a game. I can watch that game anytime. But if she sees me drinking beer, eating chips, farting and burping on the couch, and shouting at the TV, she's going to turn out to be a different person.
Wow.
The first 7 years of a child's life is the blueprint for the rest of his or her life. I told you that. And if I do anything to ruin that for her, then it is my responsibility. Then I did that. But if I contribute towards the future, not of hers, but to everyone else that I will hopefully contribute to on a positive note, then I also did that. Then I'll take the credit for it. Otherwise, I will be blamed. Like, hey, my dad just sits on the couch and scratches and watches TV and shouts at the teams and stuff. I cannot let her see that side of me. There
Right.
comes a point where a male must become a man and understand that he's got responsibilities.
And speaking of a male becoming a man, co-parenting. Let me
Yes.
tell you something. That is a struggle for me, right?
Okay.
I'm married right now. It's my second wife, blended family, everything like that. Here's the deal. My first wife, my ex-wife, excuse me. We cannot co-parent effectively. We just can't. For whatever reason, we just can't co-parent effectively. Let me ask you a question. Your program touches on co-parenting, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who wants to hear what your company does. What are some key strategies that you advocate for improving communication and cooperation between co-parents, especially during transitions such as divorce and relocation?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are co-parenting, this was something that you and I kind of touched on a few days back through one of the questions that you sent, I believe. When you're co-parenting or you're about to get divorced or you have divorced, whatever the case may be, I have to tell you that communication is still key. You must communicate with one another for the sake of your child or for the sake of your children. You both have to be on the same page with the way you still want your child or children to go. If you have a path for them, you must communicate. Now, I'm not saying you have to be best friends. I'm not saying that you might get back together, and I hope that happens. But realistically speaking, whatever the situation may be, you have to understand the center of your universe is your child or your children. For their sake, if I can be of any assistance to you today, is I have to give you this piece of advice. Communicate with one another. Don't talk at one another. Don't speak to each other. Communicate with one another. There is a difference between these. Talking at somebody versus communicating with them for the sake of your child is completely different. Now, especially if you are sitting in the same room as your child or children, the two of you, let's say that you are divorced, have that mutual understanding and respect for one another, that you will speak politely with one another, so that your child, who is a reflection of you, can continue to live a good life, knowing that this child, let's give you an example of just one child, that John had one loving home, and now he has two loving homes, two
Hmm.
loving parents who are entitled to having their own lives. Maybe they will get married and date and such, but John is still in the center of the universe of the mother and the father.
Hands down, correct. I thank you for that. It's communication. Communication is key. Communication is key. Um, wow, Gabriel, this has been a great conversation. I know you're not done because I'm not done either. I'm definitely, I'm not done. But let me ask you another question. You have given us so many tidbits, so many nuggets,
Yeah.
from communication to manifestation
Mhm.
to writing things down, to taking responsibility. What does it mean to you in your own words, in your opinion? What does it mean to you to be a champion?
A champion is a person who is committed.
Mm.
You don't become a champion if you're not committed. I am 100% committed to my wife. I'm committed to my daughter, to teaching every single day, whether I've had 3 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep at night. I am committed to every single client that I work with on a daily basis. My goal isn't to think about what time I'm going to sleep. It is to contribute to society because I've lived 45 years of my life already. How much time I have left on this earth, I don't know. But I want to be awake and I want to help and I want to contribute towards the betterment of society. Any champion would probably have a similar answer. The commitment towards making the society better and leaving this world better than the way we found it. And never caring about ourselves in a way where we become so selfish and so gluttonous and so distant. Whether it's watching, and you're entitled to watching your Super Bowl and NBA finals and such, that, I mean, you don't want to be a gluttonous pig on a couch watching TV while your little daughter's over there looking at you and not understanding what you're doing. But if you contribute to society and your daughter is on your lap and you're feeding her and you are building your company, imagine what that future would look like. So now there's two of you working towards a better future. That's a champion mindset. The champion mindset makes you a champion. Not just thinking like one, the mindset with which you wake up every day. For example, I'll make it very quick. I cannot wait to sleep so that I can wake up. And when I do sleep nowadays, I haven't slept 8 hours in probably 3.5 years.
Wow.
I haven't slept more than 6. And 6 is pushing it. 4 to 5 is average. I open my eyes, I say my affirmations, that takes me 2 minutes. I get right out of bed and I go wash my face. I make breakfast for my entire family. I make sure that my wife has lunch. I take my daughter to daycare. I go to school. I take my wife to work. I bring her back from work. I make sure I make dinner. I wash dishes. I have to do that as a man, as a family man, as a father, as a husband. That is my duty for my family. And you know what? This family works. And when I look back, when my daughter looks back, she was never raised by anybody else but her parents.
Wow. Wow. You said a mouthful. My brother. You definitely did. Where could our viewers and listeners connect with you, Gabriel?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find me on my website, our business website called firsttimemomdad.com. Not mom and dad, firsttimemomdad.com. You will see all of the content. My goal was to give 100 hours of educational content for free. And I have achieved that goal within that website. And I've done that. Now, those of you that need help as first-time parents who are co-parenting, ladies and gentlemen, please reach out to me and ask for help. Don't assume that I'm expensive. Don't assume that you can't afford me. I had to work with a lawyer. I had to work with my webmaster and web designer to come up with something that would be affordable for everybody so that whatever I'm enjoying with my family, you will enjoy with your family as well.
Thank you so much, Gabriel. This has been a very, very eye-opening conversation, from first-time parenting to co-parenting, to taking responsibility, to going from thought to reality, from seeing it before you see it, or else you'll never see it. I mean, you covered so much information. Champion Nation, if you are having some co-parenting issues, or you know someone that's a first-time parent, please reach out to Gabriel. Please reach out to Gabriel. And on that note, if you like what you've heard, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the little bell, comment, and share. Champion Nation, Have a champion day. Thank you, Gabriel.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
I appreciate it.